Hey folks, this is Ben Gussel. How's it going? Um, had a pretty good day today. Yeah, it was good. I'm not really sure how to begin this particular video, but um, I've been watching American Idol, again on YouTube, which is something I haven't done for quite some time. And I remember how I used to feel when I first saw American Idol. I was a bit younger. No, some younger, and well, I've wondered at times about not necessarily going on that show, but more like America's Got Talent or something. I've always felt like it was the wrong place to show what I could do musically. Because, yeah, but I don't know. It's been in the back of my mind for a long time. I'm not really I'm not a pop star, so it would not be that thing kind of thing at all. It would be something more, yeah, you guys probably know. Um, but I mentioned this subject because, well, how can I put this? Um, we're not all born with uh, the same advantages and disadvantages in life, and I'm not just talking about money or the way our parents are or whatever, or anything else you want to, anything else you want to throw in there. What I'm talking about is how we're hardwired in our brains. Um, I'm talking about psychology, and I'm talking about also other things too. Very deep things, but there's more spiritual. But every single one of the people that subscribe to me are subscribed to me for certain reasons, and I wanted to make it very clear from the moment I started this channel um, that I was always myself, wasn't ever being someone else, and my music reflects who I am as well. Every last piece, every last piece. Some pieces are more my inner voice than others, of course, but um, I could never really do things a different way. Um, Not really. It would be easier to see through any fakery on YouTube anyway. What I'm trying to say is that just like with American Idol or whatever show, so many shows. This is a good example I'm talking about here. Um, we live in a society still. Each of the countries that we live in, some more than others, especially the United States. We live in a society, modern society, where, especially in the United States, um, it's a very cruel society. It's a very, very cruel society, and it's predatory, and um, it's evil, and the funny thing about all that, it's whatever I've experienced in that respect. It's just a small. It's an insignificant particle of what's actually out there in terms of the evil that's in the world. I can't even begin to understand it all. How bad it is. I had on my 2-year mission for my church mission in the Southwest, New Mexico and Arizona. I had a missionary companion who just talked about California, and the way he talked about California, um, growing up there, made me wonder, um, if California was a much more wicked place than Washington. The way he described it, I don't know. And this is Washington. It's not exactly middle of Utah. It's not exactly, I don't know, Victorian England or something. I don't know. But, people get stuff wrong all the time, not just about me, but about all kinds of people out there. And it's just endless. It keeps reoccurring over and over again. Misunderstandings, very poor judgments about other people, very poor. And why should I think for a moment, just a brief, millisecond, why should I put any stock in a grown adult who has a fully functioning mind? Why should I put any stock in an adult's thoughts who is either on purpose just a schmuck, right? A bad person, or somebody who ought to know better what's going on with somebody, and yet, I don't know why I keep having these mixed feelings with Simon Cowell, but it's like there's a lot of worldly crap going on with that guy. It's not that he's I don't know. It's not just about the show, you understand. It's just so much of my thoughts here are kind of like, yeah, this is a flippin' evil world. My personal, maybe you guys have heard this before, but you have two shows, not one, two. One show is for folks who don't have more severe mental situations, or who don't, and they are able to actually hear themselves and actually know know what's going on musically with themselves. So they are fully functioning that way. That's one show. The other show is for folks who are not that way. Folks who, okay, so one, I'm sorry, it's just, okay. So one show is for folks that have just from birth, they are all the lights are on, and there's no issues with understanding how they sound. And the other show should be with folks who can't really understand fully, for some reason, what they sound like. And there doesn't have to be just two, but there should be two. Instead of there being two shows, there's one. And you see what I'm trying to say here is that it's anything but fair. What is it? What is the point of having someone who is just, I don't know. You guys I think you guys are understanding what I'm trying to say. But the funny thing about that train of thought is that it's a great deal, it's a great amount of corresponding thoughts I have about people in the world in general. So easy to point the finger at Simon Cowell. Much, much harder to point the finger back at oneself, or, the judgments are endless, and most of them are not either most of them are wrong or very short-sighted, or even somewhat short-sighted about other people, and they just keep continuing. And my real beef again is with adults who ought to know better, especially adults that are not fresh out of college or new in college. They have some life experience. Those kinds of adults should not be making. Should definitely it should be fully within their abilities to understand what's happening with somebody. It burns me up. It still, it just. What is the point? What is the point? There isn't just. When you have one show, it reflects the idea that, there's the same standard for everybody. Okay, but if we're not equal by birth, but yet, people with Down syndrome still want to be famous singers, and but they can't. They're not going to sound. And if by some chance they do sound amazing, then wow. But I mean, it's wrong. It's wrong to take advantage of people. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's Tourette's. It doesn't matter if it's severe Asperger's or autism. It doesn't matter if it's bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. Mild Downs or doesn't. It's all wrong. It's all wrong when these people get their hopes up, and there's just no way that they're gonna be able to compete with other folks, and they're singing their hearts out of their, or they're like Sarah Goldberg, they just they're very emotionally unhinged. Some while back, these social misfits. There's a place for everybody. Nobody deserves. Nobody who puts themselves out there that way to perform deserves any kind of mocking. Really, it's funny, but what the heck? For all the piano recitals that I've ever hosted, and for every student I've ever taught, ever, I have never heard even one snicker, ever. So, go, So what's the difference? It was just like in college. It was the same situation. People were quiet and respectful when someone was performing. What is the deal with American Idol? I'm not looking at the audience. I'm actually asking the makers of the show why. How can you expect people that are very sensitive people to have the same poise in front of large groups as other folks that aren't as sensitive? It's not going to work that way. So you need to have more than one show. It isn't fair. Well, if they're going to. A lot of people are amazing musicians that aren't amazing performers in some kind of big rock hall. You get some very rowdy folks that like certain kinds of music, but you have the opposite as well. I don't know. I'm talking with young man that I accompanied on the piano when he was in high school or something. You know, I have to wonder about the ethics of people sometimes. It's always about the ethics. I'm not questioning their abilities so much. Their abilities, it should be much easier to know what someone is really good at, really. And Simon's not a musician that I know of. He's a businessman. And he has had a lot of... He knows, he can hear someone who has ability versus someone who doesn't, but, you know, it's not his thing. He's not a musician. But no, I don't know. You wonder sometimes of people that were made fun of severely on national TV. There was one of the wife of one of my former bishops I had, one of my old congregations, wanted to do American Idol, and her husband, the bishop, was worried about it, and for good reason. It's pretty worldly. It's not. People are not. You have some nice folks in the audience, but it's an environment that is not. It's not necessarily supportive, or if it is supportive, it's, I don't know. I've been told again that you have people that the camera never dwells on, but are getting the audience to act in certain ways, or it's kind of like a mob mentality kind of thing in that place. That's not art. It's never been art. What that is it's just, can you handle the clamor? Can you handle the distractions and perform well? And that's kind of what's going on, but that's just the world of pop performance, or whatever it is. It's the world of performing Las Vegas things, or just, casinos, or big theaters like that. I don't know. It's very wrong. It's very, very wrong. And a lot of people would say, no, it's not. Yeah, no, yes, it's this. It's always had issues. There have always been issues with this stuff, and you might not think there are issues because it's just the way things have been, but no, there are. Speak Paula Abdul. There are people that are actually decent people on that show, the judges and other things. And, they've had a lot of issues at times with how things are. Sure. But you've heard contestant after contestant and parent after parent, and, on these shows, voicing their thoughts about all this stuff. If you want to boil it all down to just a few things, well, I guess it's this. It's no matter what happens in that show, we all know, we all understand this. This should be common knowledge. The world of popular music, by and large, again, the world of popular music is not wholesome. Now, there are exceptions to that because there's so many different kinds of pop music, of course. But the atmosphere of popular music, especially on American Idol, is not wholesome. It is not the spirit of those kinds of things. It's not something. you have good people that get nervous, and a lot of that nervousness comes because there's an evil spirit in that kind of place. I'll come out and say it. There's an evil spirit that accompanies some of that stuff. And as this show continues, you're probably going to see more and more of that. Or other shows. Many other shows like that. We sensed it. We sensed it for a long time. What's evil about it? What's the evil spirit? What's the evil presence? Well, the evil presence has a great deal to do with not just those shows, but for so many things we've seen in our entire lives in TV. Just so many things, endless things. We assume that it's nothing's wrong with it because why would we think anything is wrong with something? But no, no, guys. This might sound like some far right Christian conspiracist or something. No, it's not even that either. No, how many of us actually know what goes on with the making of any TV show? I'm not talking about how truthful something is or whatever shady stuff they're doing in the production of a show or all that. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about from the moment that it's on the drawing board to the moment that you're seeing it on TV. And like movies too, like this somewhat too. A lot of times it just depends on the company, the production. But it's like, how many of us know what's actually the whole process of making that show, and who makes the decisions, right? Well, I know some of this stuff, but and how many of us really understand that fully, 100%? Even the people that are involved with making any TV show, it's often the case that there are people that they have to work with that are a little shady. So many things to say about this subject. So many things. So, I mean, if anybody who's, that guy from Midvale, Utah, I can't remember what his name was, but I know something was going on with him. And I've mentioned this before, probably in another video of mine. You knew right from the get-go that he had a certain kind of way about him, and, well, people were going to laugh at him, but yeah, I mean, like, a lot of times, I don't know. There's a lot of things you could say about the subject. For a lot of people, they're like, it was nice to see somebody like that on TV performing his guts out. It gives other people courage, and the more you see people with whatever going on, I mean, I'm not just talking about all kinds of people here, and I talk about all kinds of moods and psychologies and whatever, and it's kind of like, okay, why not just have a show? Why not just have not just one show, but like not just two shows, but even 3 or 4? Well, and just have the end goal be something that's realistic for the kind of people that are competing in this show. Seriously, if we want to pay money, if we really do want to pay money because we really love the music of somebody who's very impaired in some respect, cool. That's kind of going to be a little bit more unlikely. I'm not saying, of course, it's obvious. It's still very likely depending on what's happening with a person, but it's like Simon's preying on the people that are given the short end of the stick in some psychological way or mental way or whatever, or even physical attractiveness, all this stuff, because it's it's just the world of pop music we're talking about here. I don't know. It's very wrong. It's just very wrong. And I've never liked it. Not truly, not 100%. But sure, I've thought about going on that show before. I have no idea. It's like I would only do something like that if I had control over what I was doing. I wouldn't do American Idol. That's not. I see what they have to do. That's no. I would just do America's Got Talent. Just do what I do best. That's what I would do. So, you know, I haven't had these thoughts. I haven't watched this stuff for a while. Do I feel guilty when I laugh at somebody that is really not fully aware of what's going on and how, like the disconnect. The disconnect, right? Would I laugh at somebody's disconnect from reality? When I myself, some things, sure, are pretty funny, but it's a very real question, I think. I guess you laugh when Simon laughs or when whoever laughs, right? I guess. And some things are funny. Some people are completely bonkers. It's true. Some people have not as much empathy for. It's true. But I really have a hard time with laughing at somebody who has like a more severe mental disability that I have a serious beef with. And the more severe the disability, the more I just, man, have more than one show, Simon. Well, why do this? Seriously, why do this? Trying to give people a sense of reality of how really some people have no sense of reality from the moment they're born. I mean, but especially when they get older, you think at some point, some people no, but for some people it's just very hard. Some people it never really happens that they're fully aware of what's going on with other people. For some people that never happens. But why should those people be forced to see the reality of how truly skilled they are at singing or something? What's the point? So they can stop saying that they're this amazing singer when maybe they're not? But if somebody has some conditions, again, are very limiting. I just think that there's a lot more to be said about this stuff that hasn't been said. And I can understand the sentiments that get very serious about this matter. It has to do with ethics. It absolutely has to do with ethics. This happens more often than you guys might realize. Unethical things that happen. Very unethical things. By people that should know better. Give people a sense of the real world, I guess. I really wish some people that have prided themselves in how well they've done in the real world, I wish they could walk for a while in someone else's shoes. Okay, you guys leave me thoughts or comments below. Catch you later. Take care. Bye.